coverage as snowfall knocks out power across western Washington.
And all you could hear was crackling, and you could see transformers blowing everywhere every few minutes.
We're tracking efforts to get the lights back on in Snohomish County and the roads clear in Mason County.
I'm Drew Mickelson along Hood Canal, where the foot of snow that fell overnight is still causing problems this afternoon.
I'm coming home this weekend back to Boise because of it. My family is very concerned, and rightly so.
Remembering the 4 students killed at the University of Idaho. In just 60 minutes, students will gather to remember the victims while they wait to learn who's responsible.
An 11-year-old boy is recovering after what police are calling a road rage shooting. The man accused of pulling the trigger appears in court. King 5 News at 4 starts now.
Right now, we are tracking more than a foot of snow in some places around western Washington. That snow is leaving crews with trees to clean up and power to restore.
A live look at both Snoqualmie and Stevens passes right now. I-90 near Snoqualmie Pass just fully reopened within the last 90 minutes. Chains are required in both directions.
And this is new video from the summit at Snoqualmie. The ski resort says it got more than 18 inches of snow in the past 24 hours. It says Summit West will open with limited operations this Friday for pass holders only. Thanks for choosing King 5. I'm Jessica Janner Castro.
I'm Steve Solis. Snowfall still is impacting air travel tonight as well. Right now we are still tracking more than 70 cancellations and more than 270 delays as flurries continue to fall there. The struggle yesterday was keeping the planes de-iced for takeoff.
And on the ground, crews are trying to get power restored. Here's a live look at Snohomish County's outage map. You can see more than 9,000 customers are still waiting for the lights to come back on.
That is where King 5's Erica Zuko is tonight. We're going to check in with her and Drew Mickelson over in Mason County in about 90 seconds.
But first, team coverage starts with meteorologist Adam Claybon. Adam, we're expecting another system to hit tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see another one late tomorrow evening into early Friday. And then, yes, we have another one that's going to be making its way through tonight into early Thursday. Now, this is what we're dealing with right now. That's beginning to move on through. It's been pretty much snowing here for the past couple of hours out at SeaTac Airport, but check out the grassy surfaces. I wanted to point that out to you because not really accumulating. Temperatures have stayed above freezing. We're currently at 34 out at the airport. Here in the city of Seattle, I just saw my car thermometer. It said we were at 42. So you may be noticing here in the city itself, nothing but rain, and it's really light rain at that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the radar and just show you the mess that we're dealing with right now. Some spots, yeah, dealing with rain, kind of going back and forth between the rain and the snow. Let's zoom in to one spot in particular right here along Highway 203. Looks like that's beginning to transition on over to snow. And then as you head farther south, we're seeing it looks like areas farther south, more so to King County, down across maybe more Pierce County, and then into Thurston County. That's where we're going to keep the eye out for the better chances of accumulating snowfall as we head on into the night. Temperatures, as I mentioned before, we're sitting above freezing. 34 out at SeaTac Airport, 33 currently in Puyallup, 37 in Renton, and all the numbers are sitting above freezing, even seeing some 40s out across the coast, around 40 to 41 in Hoquiam and in Port Angeles. Here we go into the night. Yes, we are going to see the snow fly. As far as how much accumulates, well, we do have some minor accumulations to tell you about. We'll go over that and show you where the latest advisories are out for the storm coming up.
Okay, Adam, thank you. Yeah, let's get back to those power outages now. Again, we're seeing the most in Snohomish County, where more than 9,000 customers are without power tonight. King 5's Erica Zuko is live with a look at how families handled the cold night last night. Erica.
Right, Jessica, it's been more than 12 hours now, and we've seen crews out all day working in the cold. Snohomish POD says that at its peak, there were 42,000 outages, so they've made a lot of progress. But as you mentioned, still thousands of customers still waiting on power restoration. POD says that it expects by tomorrow morning at the latest to have all homes completed if the weather holds. Utility workers spent the morning clearing trees and fixing lines across Snohomish County.
Can you say hi?
Damage that knocked out power for Julian Grayson Wakeman.
We slept as much as we could. We brought him into our bed to keep him warm. We went and got coffee, and we went around and traveled all over the area just seeing what was going on and stayed in our car to stay warm.
Living in this neighborhood all her life, she's never seen anything like this. Widespread power outages and fallen trees scattered across the heavy snowfall.
Like this snow? Too cold.
But this is a place where neighbors take helping into their own hands.
I'm just going to cut some branches up here so we can get in and out of our road.
Doing their best to make streets safe for drivers and crews to get through. And warning as you're driving around today, if you see any road closed signs, make sure that you follow that advice, because several times today we would go towards a road closed sign because it looked like things were okay, but then we would see a power line. So just because there's not lots of snow doesn't mean there isn't a big safety concern, especially now that it's getting dark. Definitely want to follow those directions. For now, we're live in Snohomish County. Erica Zucco, King 5 News.
Great advice there. Temperatures are expected to drop into the 20s this week. If you need a warm place to go, Kitsap County is opening 4 severe weather shelters. That includes the Village Green Community Center in Kingston, the Gateway Fellowship in Paulsbo. The United Methodist Church is opening up in Port Orchard, and the United Methodist Church also in Silverdale.
Meanwhile, in King County, the Regional Homeless Authority has opened cold weather overnight shelters now through Friday. The Compass Housing Alliance on Alaskan Way in Seattle will open at 6 every night through 9 a.m. 60 beds are available there. And for all other areas we aren't able to list here on TV, you can call the number 211. All you have to do is enter your zip code and you'll be able to find a shelter open near you.
Turning now to the Hood Canal. These are new photos out of Mason County. Crews there are working to clear trees as well as snow from the roadways. State Route 106 just reopened this morning. That's where we find King 5's Drew Mickelson. Drew.
Hi guys, so hundreds of folks were without power overnight here along the Hood Canal and most of the afternoon, but within the last 20 minutes or so, the lights came on back here at the Glen Air Resort, so that's some good news for folks. But you know, there are people who were trapped in their homes and hotels overnight. That's what 12 inches of snow in about 12 hours will do. That kept road crews, power line workers really busy all night and all day today. We saw them up and down Hood Canal today. There were trees and power lines down blocking Highway 101 in several spots, and that left the guests at one of the managers at the Sunrise Motel trapped in their dark motel rooms overnight. Madison Carlton moved here this summer and loved living and working along the canal, but she was told the weather can get nasty out here.
But I had prepared. I knew it was coming, so I brought extra food and lots of layers.
She said sleeping alone in a dark, cold, quiet motel room was a little creepy. She said she felt like she was starring in a horror movie, but she survived. The good news is the lights have come on, the heat is back on there. Unfortunately, she's still trapped. Her car was buried in the parking lot. She may spend the night there again. Live along Hood Canal, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Wow. Drew, thank you. We're also keeping a very close eye right now on the impacts the snowfall is having on schools.
Yeah, several districts around Western Washington either delayed the start of class today or just canceled it altogether. This here's a list of the largest districts in our state that made those changes today. You can see that those canceled. They're highlighted there in red.
So the list could change, obviously, as the weather changes, and we're keeping our website up to date. Just text the word closings to 206-448-4545, the number you see on your screen, and we'll send you that information right to your phone. You can also text that same number for a link to our free King 5 app, the fastest way to get your weather and traffic updates in your area.
In just under an hour, a vigil will begin at the University of Idaho to remember the 4 students found murdered at a house just off campus. It's now been more than 3 weeks, and investigators still have not found that person responsible. Tonight, the families of the victims are expected to talk, and King 5's Sebastian Robertson is in Musco, Idaho, ahead of what's expected to be an emotional evening.
This evening, students will gather on campus for a vigil to honor the lives of 4 fellow students that were killed on November 13th. There's been no arrests made, and students say they are doing 2 things at once, mourning the loss of fellow students while at the same time staying vigilant. 17 days since 4 University of Idaho students were found dead inside an off-campus home. The hunt for the killer has yielded no suspects, no murder weapon found. Wednesday night, the students that remain on campus gathering for a vigil alongside the families of victims. Kaylee Concalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodal, and Ethan Chapin of Washington State were killed in that off-campus home. They were stabbed to death, despite the school allowing for remote learning due to ongoing safety concerns. Many students that we talked to felt it was important to be here in person.
We actually have been planning like all week in anticipation for the memorial all together to go. And I think it's really important for us as well, because having that sense of unity with the campus and then also each other, that we're going to be looking out for each other. This is always a safe space, whether you're here or not, like with us together, like you will be safe.
The university says that this vigil was postponed until after the Thanksgiving break so that more students could attend. We're told that members of the Idaho State Police and the governor of Idaho will be in attendance. In Moscow, Idaho, Sebastian Robertson, King 5 News.
There are 6 vigils tonight planned across Idaho that will start at the same time, all at 5 o'clock tonight. 2 on this map are in Coeur d'Alene and Sandpoint. They had to be canceled because of weather. Closer to home, we know another is scheduled at the University of Washington. People across the country are invited to take part by lighting up a candle, turning on a porch light, or observing a moment of silence for those 4 students killed.
Road rage incidents are on the rise in Western Washington. Just this month, 2 children were sent to the hospital in 2 separate shootings. Tonight, we're learning more about what happened when an 11-year-old boy was shot in Tacoma last Friday. King 5's Kristen Goodwillie is at the Tacoma courthouse where that suspect in that shooting was in court today. Kristen.
That's right. The suspect in this road rage shooting is 19-year-old Jaden Davis Gunn, and today he pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of first-degree assault, as well as 1 count of unlawful possession of a firearm. And we're now getting an idea of what led up to this shooting. It was the Friday after Thanksgiving when a Honda CR-V merged onto northbound I-5 from 56th Street. That's where 2 adults and an 11-year-old boy were allegedly shot at by 19-year-old Jaden Davis Gunn, who was driving a Chevrolet Cruze. According to court documents, Davis Gunn tried to prevent the Honda CR-V from merging. When the Honda merged, Davis Gunn allegedly pulled up to their passenger side and began shooting with a semi-automatic handgun. The 11-year-old sitting in the back seat and only named by his initials AC was hit in his right arm and abdomen, a bullet lodging in his liver. The boy was driven to this fire station and taken to Marybridge Hospital for surgery.
It is definitely devastating for us to see that a young child like this, who did nothing to nobody out there, was hurt in such a severe way and could potentially be affected by that incident for his whole life.
Get out of there and I'll allow you to.
Davis Gunn is currently in jail, held on a $750,000 bail. And today in court, Pierce County Prosecutor Afton Gregson said law enforcement never recovered the gun in the shooting, and that is of concern to the state. Coming up here at 5, I take a broader look at road rage incidents in our area and how they are increasing. But for now, live here in Tacoma, I'm Kristen Goodwillie, King 5 News.
This is at least the 2nd road rage shooting this month. In Renton, a 9-year-old was shot in a suspected road rage incident. Isaiah was shot twice, but is now out of the hospital. Still ahead on King 5, a 5-year-old boy is missing out of Mount Vernon right now.
What we know about the investigation and who police are searching for tonight. We also now have a jury in the trial of Pierce County Sheriff Ed Schroyer. The message from both sides in opening statements.
A historic Seattle staple shut down following a fire and now dealing with a break-in. The iconic piece missing from Vito's tonight. King 5 News at 4 continues in 2 minutes.